Hey guys, my name's Nathan. I'm just going to share a bit about my story today and just hope it encourages you. So I grew up in a Christian family, but just because your parents are Christian or your family comes from a Christian heritage does not make you a Christian. Just like if your dad's a doctor does not make you a doctor. So in the same way, just because my family was Christian, I had to learn about what that meant for myself and grow in that. And I didn't do that growing up as a child in my young years. I went to church just because I had to, but I actually did not have a personal relationship with God. And so that caused a lot of problems for me in my teenage years. But before I get into that, just want to share quickly a testimony of healing. Because when I was born, actually not when I was born, but around the age of about 4, I developed this condition called Tourette syndrome. And I was shaking uncontrollably. I could not stop twitching and making sounds, and it caused a lot of problems at school. And I had bullying and that sort of thing. And I went to many different doctors and specialists. And the recommendation was basically that they put me on medication, and which would just calm me down and hopefully just maintain it so it wouldn't get worse. But the diagnosis was not good, and they said that there's no cure for it, and yeah, it's just sort of medicate me and just to help to control it. But my parents did believe that God could heal me, and so they prayed, and they got many other Christian brothers and sisters to pray. And after many years, about the age of 12, I just got better, and I can't really pinpoint a time of exactly when I got healed. But I just remember just not having the shaking and the twitching and making all these sounds and noises like I had uncontrollably all those years. And so that was a real miracle. And I just remember around between the age of 12 to 13 just getting better and better. And so, you know, I really give praise to God for that. But I also believe that God's will is to heal us all the time. I'm not special, and I believe that as my parents grew in the knowledge and understanding that God wants us to be well, not sick and all that, that's why I received the healing, because they're my parents and they were praying for me for that. But because I went through that, it caused me to sort of close in and not talk to people, and because of all the bullying and things like that, I kept a lot of things in. And so when I was about 13, I started having this eating disorders and mental health problems, and I couldn't talk to people about it. I didn't know how to, and I ended up in hospital around the age of 14 and 15. I was in and out of hospitals and clinics, and seeing psychologists and psychiatrists and doctors and all these things, because my eating disorder, I was so sick, so skinny, so dehydrated, so unwell, that they were just, my parents were freaking out, my family didn't know what to do, and it just got worse and worse to the point where I ended up in hospital and they were force-feeding me. And I came out of hospital sort of getting a bit better, but I still had that eating disorder for many years after that, but in different ways. It wasn't in that same way. But I came out of hospital that first time, and then I went back to school for a couple of weeks, and then I had this episode of schizophrenia, and I ended up back in a psychiatric ward, being heavily medicated, and because I was suicidal, and also I wanted to hurt other people and my family and things like that. So I was put in the psychiatric ward to sort of control me for a few weeks. And this was all happening between the ages of 14 to 15. And yeah, it was just, life was really getting out of control at a young age. And I came out of the psych ward, and I ended up going back to school, but never really dealt with those issues, never dealt with the anxiety, the depression, the mental health problems I was going through, even the eating disorder and stuff. That stayed with me for many years. But one way I tried to control everything going out of control in my life was I really threw myself into my studies. And in year 11 and 12, I ended up getting really good results, the best in my school at the time. and I thought that would make me happy, and that would give me an identity, and make me give me purpose for my life. But it didn't. It didn't give me the happiness and the joy that I thought it would. And I ended up getting into university and having a good job and a car and all the things that the world tells us should make us happy. And I even had a girlfriend at the time, and it was wonderful. Like, around me, I had some good friends as well, but still nothing satisfied me. Nothing made me really happy. Nothing gave me that sense of joy and peace. Probably that was the number one thing. I didn't have peace in my life. And I had everything the world would say. Society says, oh, you should be happy. You got, education, money, good family, and all that sort of stuff. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. I didn't have this happiness in my life. So around the age of 22, I started looking at life and saying, so what am I really here for? What is the meaning of my life? And I was sick of other people telling me what they thought the meaning of my life was, and I just started to look at things for myself and shutting off what other people were telling me, and just even society and my lecturers at university and lots of different people. So I started seeking truth, and on that journey I looked at atheism, agnosticism, different philosophies, ideas, theories, and I came to the point where I realized that there was an intelligent designer, and this is after about 2 years of looking at things from a scientific perspective. And the reason that I believe there's an intelligent designer, and I just put out there creation.com, a really good website that really helped me, and I encourage you to look at that as well. But basically, you look at a building and there's a builder. You look at a plane and you look at the incredible design that goes into an aeroplane. You just know that there was a designer, a builder, a creator, an engineer. And so we look at these objects around us everywhere, and we see this complexity of design. We see this incredible detail in the way things are made, and we just know that there's a creator of something that's created. So in the same way, I started to realize, look at the detail and the complexity of the way you're made, your DNA, your genes. Look at the way a baby's created in the womb. And I just started to realize that there must be an incredible designer of these things all around us. And it even says that in the Bible, which I now realize that all creation declares the glory of God. And no one is without an excuse, because we can see God in creation all around us. The world declares the glory of God. So I realized that there was a creator, there was an intelligent designer, and that's just in short. But it took me many years. It took me 2 years to come to that point. And so then I said, all right, so who is this creator? Is it Allah? Is it is it part of the Buddhist theology or religion? Is it who is this creator? So I started looking at that from different religions, and nothing really satisfied me. Nothing, like, I just said, no, that's not the truth. That's not real. That just couldn't be right. And so I looked at it for the first time in many years. I opened up the Bible again, and I hadn't really read the Bible for myself since I was maybe 11, 12 years of age. So I opened it up, and every word that I read in the Bible, I just opened up anywhere. I didn't know where to open it. I just started reading it, and every word I read really hit me. It was like hitting me deep. And it was like it was coming alive to me. It's hard to explain, but if you've had the same experience, it's hard to put it into words. But every word I was reading, it was like really hitting me. It was coming alive to me. So I just knew inside that this is the truth I've been looking for. After all these years, after everything that I've done and I've been through, I realized this is what's going to really help me. And so I started to really read the Bible every day for many months, without telling anyone, without really changing anything in my life. I just started to read it for what it was. And it changed my perspective on who is God, who is Jesus, why should I believe in God? Why should I believe in Jesus? And what was Jesus really preaching? What does the Bible really say? And instead of listening to what the church was telling me, or other people, or even on the news and TV shows and all this stuff, I just started to read it for myself and just listen to what it was really saying. And when I read it like that, I just realized God's amazing love, that He would send His only Son that whosoever should believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And I said, I want that everlasting life. You know, what does that really mean? And it says that in John 17 verse 3, that everlasting life is knowing the Father, is knowing God as a Father. It's having relationship. And so I started to really talk with God and pray and read the Bible and go to church for myself, not for anyone else or anything else. And just that transformed my heart. It not just transformed my mind or the way I was thinking about things, but it actually transformed me from the inside out. And so after a few years of that, I got baptized and my life got completely transformed. I gave up a lot of things freely, like it wasn't even a sacrifice, like it wasn't hard. It became an easy thing for me to give up, like addictions to pornography, friendships that I had with people that were not helping me in my faith, in following after God. It became an easy thing to do because I had a relationship with God, and because God is so good and He loves me so much, I didn't even want those things. You see, when you begin to know who God is, you begin to know who you are. God does not come to improve your life. He comes to give you His life. And that's a very different thing from what the world teaches. You know, I've got a degree in psychology and I'm a registered psychologist, and what psychology, basically what it all boils down to is that it tries to improve your life. But it can't really change your life. But that's where God comes in, and He actually gives you His life. It's completely different to what the world teaches. And so when God gave me His life, I started to experience so much freedom and joy and peace that I never had before. No matter how hard I tried to fight for those things and have those things, you know, God really is amazing. And since coming to Christ, for myself, even though I grew up as a Christian in a Christian home, remember how I said, you know, unless you make that decision and you go for it for yourself, it doesn't matter, you know. So since I've made that decision for myself, and I've followed after Christ and living my life after His life and teachings, it's been amazing. Like, I went on a mission trip, I saw many miracles, people's legs growing out, backs healed on the spot. One amazing testimony, even before I was baptized and all these things, with my mother actually, she had a migraine. And I had just read this Bible verse that said, the kingdom of heaven is not a matter of words, but of power. And so I read that Bible verse and I said, God, I'm going to put this to the test. So I went up to my mum and I said, Mum, you know, you don't look well. What's going on? And she said, oh, I've got a migraine. And I said, well, can I pray for you? And she was like, wow, you know, okay. You know, this was like, no one knew that I was reading the Bible or anything like that. So she was taken aback by it. And I said, I just want to pray and see what happens. So I did, and I just put my hand on her head. I said, in Jesus' name, I just command you to be healed. You know, the kingdom of heaven is not a matter of words, but of power. And as I did that, she just looked at me like freaked out, and she said, wow, you know, my migraine's gone. And I knew my mum, and she's not going to lie to me. You know, she had no reason to lie or anything like that. And I could see her the rest of the day that it was actually real. It went away and it didn't come back. So it wasn't just the inner mind or anything like that. And since that time, this is about 3 or 4 years ago, it hasn't actually come back. She doesn't have migraines anymore. She doesn't. That's something that she grew up with and having that a lot. But from that point, she hasn't had migraines like that before. So since that time, so you know, there's many miracles like that I've seen. Even people healed of cancer, and I've heard of things like people being raised from the dead, and AIDS, and just incredible miracles and the power of God touching people, not just physically but emotionally, spiritually, and in my life, physically with Tourette syndrome, and also emotionally and mentally, just transforming me from having all these psychological problems and all these issues and relationship problems, just completely just transformed my life. And I just wanted to share this story just to encourage whoever's listening to seek the truth. And you know, I encourage us to read the Bible with an open heart and say, God, you know, if you're real, please reveal yourself to me. I want to know you. But don't just stop there. You know, actually start to read the Bible and seek truth, seek understanding. And you'll be amazed to find that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And He wants to give you an abundant life, His life. So, yeah, God bless you, and I hope that encourages you. See you later.